Well, hello. This is Kyle Brost. Welcome to my Facebook Live show, Trigger Happiness. Great to be doing this on a beautiful Monday morning. Hope it's a good way for you to start out your week as well. Thanks for joining me, for listening in. Today I wanted to talk about this acronym that we have all heard at some point, maybe even used in our life, the acronym of KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, silly. It's one that I think I first heard when I was, maybe in middle school or something, and it's kind of stuck around, and I've heard it many times since then in corporate environments, in personal reactions or interactions between employees, in my personal life. This acronym of keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, silly, something along those lines. And the whole point to the acronym is sometimes we overcomplicate situations, and we overcomplicate situations when they are big and complex. It feels like something that's really unsolvable. It feels like this really tangled, messy situation that's really difficult to deal with. And I have a couple of problems with this acronym. And the first one is probably the most obvious, and it's the last word. Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, silly, something along those lines. But why on earth would you try to motivate yourself or inspire yourself by using a word like stupid or silly? Like that's gonna inspire you to do better, to do more, to work harder. Calling yourself names like stupid or silly isn't gonna motivate or inspire you to do more. I mean, think about it. You would never try to motivate or inspire a friend by calling them stupid or silly, or if they're on some sort of journey where they're trying to accomplish something, you wouldn't laugh in their face and call them fat or ugly or obnoxious or any of those things to try to motivate them, because there's no way that those interactions are going to motivate or inspire them. So why would you do it to yourself? Why would you use something that the last word in that phrase, the one that's going to stick with you, is something like stupid or silly, something that's not going to motivate you? It's going to make you feel like crap. And the truth is that the jury's in. We know that positive reinforcement is more effective than punishment. So giving yourself a boost of confidence, focusing on the good outcomes and the positive things, rewarding yourself for the things that you are doing, those things are more powerful in terms of enabling change and success than punishing yourself or criticizing yourself or calling yourself names. Those things are less powerful and compelling than giving yourself a boost of confidence and focusing on what you're doing right. When you reward yourself, it inspires you. It triggers chemical changes in the brain that want more of it, that want to be rewarded more and more. And so if you focus on the positive things, then it inspires and motivates you more, just like you would do with a friend. You wouldn't call them stupid. You would try to motivate and inspire them. And so you should still be doing this. You should be doing the same thing for yourself. You shouldn't be calling yourself stupid or silly or criticizing yourself. You shouldn't get up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, fatty, you got to get to work in this. That's not going to motivate or inspire you. So I like to change this acronym from keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, silly. I like to change it to keep it simple and strategic. And so that means that when things are big and messy and complex, when they feel like they're difficult to deal with, you need to simplify them. The point of the acronym is about simplifying situations so that they're easier to work through, and you need to do that. But you need to do it in a way that's strategic. Don't just break it down arbitrarily into chunks that don't really make much sense. Break the problem down into places where there's real value that can be created, into individual bite-sized pieces that are manageable, that you feel like you can make progress on, that you feel like you can tackle, and do it in a strategic way. Focus on the things that are really gonna have results, and then focus on positive reinforcement. Reward yourself for the things that you're doing. Don't criticize or punish yourself over too much for the things that you're not doing, because rewarding yourself, rewarding others, focusing on the good things that you're doing is going to be more inspiring and compelling and motivating than punishing or criticizing yourself, than calling yourself a name, any of those elements. And when you do that, when you start to reward yourself and feel that that reward and recognition, it will inspire you to keep taking more steps forward versus, creating fear and anxiety because you know that you're going to criticize yourself, you know that you're going to punish yourself for doing the wrong things. So remember, it's not keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, silly. It's keep it simple and strategic. Break it down. I mean, that's the big thing, and it's one of the most common tools for productivity. Whether you're a leader, an entrepreneur, an individual that's trying to accomplish a goal, the first step is knowing what the goal is, and then the second one is breaking it down, simplifying it into pieces that make sense and are truly manageable. And a lot of times people start there. They start with this really big, lofty goal. I want to accomplish something huge. And they break it down and it still feels big and lofty, but they don't break it down again. And so you have to continue breaking it down, continue simplifying it until the pieces that you're looking at feel like something you can do. Even if you have to break it down into a 5-minute activity, you've got to break it down to the level where, okay, I see something, I know an activity, and I can do that. You feel motivated and compelled to do that one thing, even if it's just a 2, 3, 4, 5-minute activity. Sometimes you have to break it down to that level. And that's how you make progress, is starting at those individual tiny activities. Actually, I have an example of this. So back at our old place in Kansas, I had this goal. We had a gym that was just over a mile away from our house. I was really out of shape, and I had this goal that I would be able to run to the gym and work out and then run home. But I was really out of shape. There was no way one, I hate running anyway. But two, there was no way I was going to be able to run a mile to the gym and then work out. And so I had to break it down into individual little tiny pieces. And so my goal was just to run as far as I could the first day. And so I ran as far as I could the first day till I was tired and ready to give up. And it wasn't to the gym. And I just marked the spot, literally on the sidewalk, like you've got these chunks of sidewalk. I literally marked the spot. And I just said, okay, the next day, my only goal for the next day is to make it at least one of those sidewalk squares further or farther. And so my goal, that was it. I just wanted to make it one. I mean, that's literally like one extra step. But I knew if I did that one extra step every day, guess what? It might take me a long time, but guess what? Eventually, I will be all the way to the gym. And so that's what I did, these individual, like one more step every day. And eventually, guess what? Well, I could run to the gym and it wasn't a big deal. But it was seriously breaking it down into that small of pieces. Sometimes that's what you have to do. So keep it simple and strategic. Break down the big goal into like really small, into doable, bite-sized pieces. And once you've broken it down once, if they still feel too big, just break it down again, individual. So I broke it down. Now I've got 5, big pieces that I'm going to go after. Break each one of those down individually. And so whatever your goal is, just continue breaking it down. Keep it simple. Break it down as much as you can. Keep it simple and strategic. The strategic part is when you're breaking it down, to focus on the pieces that are actually going to move you forward. One thing that I see a lot of people do is they start to break it down and they get into this place where they're focused so much on thinking about stuff that they don't actually do anything. So they've broken it down and they know all the steps and they just continue to swirl in their own heads. Well, you have to be strategic about it. You have to pick out those individual elements that you can take action on. And no matter how small they are, if you're taking action on them, it'll move you forward. Just like my ridiculous example of running to the gym. I mean, literally one sidewalk square at a time, and it takes forever. But guess what? The end result came. And so the same thing will happen to you. So the 2 big takeaways for today. First, don't use criticism to try to motivate yourself. Don't stand in the mirror and criticize yourself. Don't get to the end of your day and say, I'm so lazy, I didn't do anything. Don't criticize yourself. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, silly. Those things aren't going to motivate and inspire you. So get rid of those words like stupid and silly and fat and ugly and unproductive and lazy and all those things that you use to try to motivate yourself. Get rid of those and use positive reinforcement. reward yourself for the little stuff you're doing, and that will motivate you and inspire you much more than criticizing yourself. Again, you would never try to motivate a friend or a colleague by calling them an idiot, by calling them stupid, by focusing on all of their flaws. So get rid of that word, change it to keep it simple and strategic. Break down your really big goal into as small of pieces as you have to in order to know a clear direction forward. And those small pieces should be strategic. They should be really tangible things that move you forward, no matter how simple they are. Those are the two big takeaways for today. Thanks for joining me. Any thoughts or questions that I can answer before we finish this Trigger Happiness episode? Happy to answer any questions that you have, or at least try give you my perspective on it. I'll give you about 20 or 30 more seconds to think of something before I jump off. If there aren't any questions, you can always shoot me a message, reach out to me later on. I'm always happy to connect with people. But any questions about how to do this or where you should focus your attention? It really is true. I mean, you can read all about the psychology of it, but reinforcing, rewarding is going to be so much more compelling and motivating than punishing yourself for the things that you wish you wouldn't do. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is they focus so much attention on the things they're not doing or the bad things that they're doing that they don't focus any attention on rewarding themselves or giving reinforcement to those things that they are doing. And so those kind of get pushed to the sideline when they really should be front and center, those things that you are doing. Well, all right, if there are no questions, I'm going to wrap up today. Thanks so much for joining me. This is Kyle Brost, Trigger Happiness. Hope to see you on the next episode. And as always, connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, here on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you can find me. I'm happy to connect with you and help however I can. All the best, my friends. Thanks so much for joining me today.